This book will teach you how to achieve your goals, how to be a good masculine man that attracts feminine women, and how you can solve your life problems, including marriage and business. Check it out. You won't regret it. For more information, check pinned comment and description. Now let's start the video.
Women are wondering, like, why aren't men wanting to get married these days? Why are men not even approaching me and talking to me anymore? Why are men checking out completely? Look at the risk reward of getting into a relationship with a woman, potentially for a family and kids. You know, if you want to sleep around and just like hoe it up as a dude, and salute, brother, go handle business. The game ends the same for us.
Is that enough?
Can you find happiness? Can you find happiness and joy? For some men, it's great. But I think every man on a deeper level yearns for a family, yearns for that dream, like a woman that's supportive, nurturing.
Marriage is unnecessary for a man if a woman truly loves him. Genuine mutual love is shown through actions and words, how you treat each other, cherish each other, keep each other happy, and everything else. A real loving relationship doesn't require titles like marriage. So if she wants a ring, she just wants your money.
Why marriage is actually a complete scam, right? If you really love somebody and you're willing to spend the rest of your life with somebody, why does a paper need to justify that? Why do you need to host an entire wedding just to tell your parents and friends that you're committed to somebody? Why can't you just do that on a simple micro level between the two of you? And my mentor, Jason Capital, always talked about this, and that's why he doesn't want to get married as well. It's because it's all just a tool for the girl to get 50% of what you have. And that's how you see all these things happening in the news right now with Johnny Depp and this girl, Amber. She's trying to take $14 million from him, and he did absolutely nothing. It's because they were married that she is now obligated to make these kind of accusations. You know, even if a prenup is signed, it's still not as valid as it was 20, 30 years ago. So make sure that you understand that the world is changing. Things are just moving in either the right or wrong direction, whatever you believe in. But marriage is a complete scam. It's a way for someone else to get 50% of what you have, and maybe they weren't even there from the start. So start evaluating that in your life right now and see if that's really the path that you want to take.
If you don't believe me, try giving her a cheap ring and see how she reacts. If she gets angry, it means she wants your money. In the current situation in Western societies, I can't think of any scenario where it's safe, logical, or even a good idea for a man to get married, not even with a great prenup. It's also not advisable for a man in Western society to live with a woman until there are major changes in the climate, culture, laws, and so on.
Is marriage worth it for women? The benefits mostly go to men. Currently, over 50% of households have a dual income. I read this as women are taking half of their own stuff. In those households, despite a dual income, women are still doing the lion's share of domestic labor and emotional labor.
The mentality before used to be that marriage is this beautiful thing, to have kids together, to raise a family, to create a legacy. It's like the most beautiful thing you could do as a human being. That got turned on its head to like emotional labor.
People who grew up in dysfunctional families and have experienced the negative effects of unhappy marriages might find this particularly true. Some men fall in love but don't feel the need to get a marriage license to show their commitment to their partners. Additionally, some men just don't think that marriage is worth the effort.
Women are incentivized to basically, there's such a major financial incentive for women to get divorced as soon as there's even a hint of unhappiness. And look, as a man, you should never sign a contract with someone who is rewarded for breaking it. No sane, informed man would or should sign that contract. As a businessman, it is one of the worst contracts you could possibly sign in your entire life.
Many women use a tactic called gaslighting to get married. They'll tell you that they don't believe in divorce and that marriage is the most special thing ever. But after getting married, they might say it's just a piece of paper and that people are allowed to change. This can make you feel like you love someone who never really existed.
I just think marriage is an L. In today's day and age, I mean, there's obviously the tradition component if you're religious, but you know, when it comes to the government involvement and the potential financial ramifications of having to unwind a marriage, it does not make sense. So don't get married, guys. Don't do it. You do, but you could have a life partner, for example, but you just don't want you don't need the government involved in
Exactly
that.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And fully want the whole white picket fence. We are husband and wife, but I just don't feel the need to go and sign some paper that lets them know that we are.
Yep.
Studies show that marriage rates are declining in the U.S. In 2020, there were 340,000 fewer marriages than in 2019, a drop of 16.8%. This suggests that men are postponing marriage. But why is this happening? According to Professor Philip Cohen, a sociology expert at the University of Maryland, the rise in women's independence and gender equality plays a significant role in the long-term decrease in marriages.
Hold on, do you mean to tell me that Cobra Tate will not be married, will not be tamed?
It's not about being tamed or married. I don't believe in marriage in terms of an institution, not because I am against the idea of loving a woman, but I'm so anti-government. I don't want them to have anything to do with me, especially where my dick goes. So fuck them.
Yeah.
So I refuse to sign the piece of paper because I just don't want to deal with governments more.
Okay, so there won't be a Mrs. Cobra Tate, but...
No, listen, if I meet a woman and I point,
Yeah, you.
she's Mrs. Cobra Tate.
Yeah.
I don't need the government to give me any kind of fucking approval.
Have you met a woman yet that you go,
I mean,
Mrs.
that's
Cobra
all I fucking do. What are you talking about? I'm just
Wow.
pump, pump,
Wow.
pump. You got a sister, bitch? Pump.
Wow.
Like, what the, you think I'm playing games?
Some men think that laws are unfair to them. You should go after your dreams while you're still in your 20s, even if you're not sure what you want in a partner. Many young men today worry that marriage might disrupt their goals and plans for the future. The good news for men is that they're less worried about their biological clock compared to women. However, there's social pressure on many men to be financially secure before getting married. These factors contribute to the declining marriage rates among men today.
Worse, and then complaining that they're not getting enough of the man's money, and you're like looking at her like, you dingbat. First of all, nobody wants you out here on the dating market. I hate to break it to you, like what like you FOMO'd at 50 and you got kids, like don't nobody want you. Then on the other side, it's like you would have had more money if you stayed with him. Okay? Like, if you file for divorce and you don't get a payout, the only people that are going to be advocating for you and being like, no, you need to take him, sis. Get him for everything. Like, those are some toxic women. Like, probably narcissistic women.
A successful marriage isn't for everyone. Nearly half of all marriages end in divorce, which makes me question the purpose of marriage in the first place. Divorce can be a long, drawn-out legal battle that drains your resources and continues to do so even after it's over. Sometimes, even with a prenup, the divorce process isn't smooth. It seems like marriage just sets you up for financial and mental pain in the future. So why do it? Studies show that 50% of marriages in the U.S. end in divorce, and 80% of those divorces are initiated by women. Since women are more likely to initiate divorce, men often end up paying more. The fear of being financially exploited is one reason why men avoid marriage these days.
Does that make sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men, but why do women tend to end divorces? With successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to
She
put
said
up
it earlier.
with.
It's
So
a feeling.
why?
Feelings
Yeah.
change from day to day.
Yeah,
time
so
to
I
time.
could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no.
That's the point.
Because he can't be a good husband.
So as a man,
That's all I'm asking.
if I marry you and
Yeah.
you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff and maybe.
So is there no risk
So?
without reward?
Oh, so what's
You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
You
men
wanted to marry me.
don't want to
You
get married.
thought you loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and
so
take
real
the
quick,
risk.
hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words why guys don't get married.
In fact, men who never marry sometimes lead happier, more fulfilling lives. So no matter your relationship status, if you're unsure whether marriage is the right choice for you, we can provide some advice. You need to understand why marriage might not be as important as it's made out to be. The idea of forever and happily ever after may seem too unrealistic for some men, which is one reason why they don't want to get married anymore.
67% of marriages end in divorce, right? But 80% of them are initiated by women. So you think divorce is this, sort of this equaling the playing field thing for men and women, but it's not. It's mostly women leaving their men, leaving their husbands, destroying their families, strong, independent. Now, 93% of alimony is paid for men to women, so you can leave your man, but you can take all his money. It doesn't go the other way around. So if women are so strong and independent, why is that the case? Why isn't it the other way around? Well, 83% of women receive primary custody of their children. Those may seem like wins, but 72% of inmates in state prisons were raised by single mothers.
In most divorce cases, women usually get primary custody of the children, which might make them feel like they have less to lose compared to men when filing for divorce. In some ways, they are correct, as evidence shows that men's well-being tends to decline much more sharply right after a divorce.
Boys, when you find yourself a worthy woman, it's not the ring that she's after, it's building a life together. Don't fall for this, oh, I want a fat nugget on my arm. They're just trying to compete with other women, and they're only looking for the wedding day. They don't give a shit about you.
Men often end up worse off after marriage, which is why more men are avoiding it. Research shows that men tend to feel lonelier after a divorce, while women are more likely to find a new partner and settle down. The only safe way for a man to marry in financial terms is if the woman earns more and there are no children involved. Men often face disrespect if they are not high earners, especially from attractive women who tend to overlook them. The problem men face today is the belief that men and women are equal. Traditionally, men were seen as providers and protectors, but if they failed in these roles, they were ostracized or divorced. However, the introduction of no-fault divorce laws, influenced by feminism, has changed the dynamics completely. Now the system appears to favor women, leaving married men financially vulnerable and emotionally strained, as women often become bossy and distant after marriage. Marriage is financially beneficial for women, allowing them to climb the socioeconomic ladder, but it's one of the worst financial decisions a man can make. Men are advised not to get married, have children, or cohabitate with women, and to avoid giving women access to their personal lives. The high costs of weddings, often desired by women for the extravagance, could instead be better saved or invested for the future. The roles of men and women in marriage are changing dramatically as societal structures evolve. Men struggle to adapt to a world where traditional patriarchal roles no longer exist. The shift has led to many unhappy marriages, with men feeling that laws are unfairly biased against them. This is why waiting until marriage was once promoted, as it encouraged exclusivity and discipline. Historically, women were protected by their families due to their different responses to intimacy compared to men. Studies show that more women initiate divorce than men, with 70% of no-fault divorces in the United States and 62% in the UK being started by women. The video encourages viewers to support men's issues by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and invites them to join in discussions and debates.